Hello everyone, welcome to our September Training Tuesday event for OU Campus. Today's topic is supporting your editors with documentation. Following after last month's session on effectively training your editors, we're going to cover how to design, create, and distribute documentation such as style guides and training materials that will continue to support your editors as long as they are using OU Campus. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode as the session is being recorded. If you have a question, please use the Q&A function found with your Zoom window. We will attempt to address any questions during the presentation. After the formal presentation is ended, we will review and answer all remaining questions. Your presenter today is Billy Woody, software trainer. Billy, it's all yours.
Okay, now I just need to make sure my screen is being shared correctly here. And I don't believe that it is yet. So let me go make sure I've got that going. One second. There we go. All right, I believe I've got everything under control here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our training today. Again, my name is Billy Woody. Thank you, Erica, for the lovely introduction this morning. Today, we are going to be covering supporting your OU Campus team with creating documentation. We are going to be going through a PowerPoint here initially, and we'll try to get through this part of it as quickly as possible, and then to the actual demonstration part. Thank you all again for joining me today for our monthly Training Tuesday session. And this session is called Supporting Your Team with Documentation. Getting into the agenda part, we're going to be going over the planning, the developing, and then the creating and implementing of materials for your OU Campus users. And as you can see, for the first item on my list on this agenda is planning. And so when planning the program, before you create your very first lesson, you need to ask a few questions first. And the first of those is, who are we trying to reach? Who are the people that we want to train here? What are their roles? And what is the background of the people that are filling those roles? What's their work history? What are they doing? Where are they coming from? This is going to help guide us when we are creating the information and the materials that we need to create for these people. So thus, we want to find out, who, what, and where. What were the questions we need to ask. So for what we're going to be doing here for this training, I'm going to be using my demo school, which is our Galena University that we use for our training here at Omni Update. And so for my school here, I have determined that I have 4 different roles that I want to take care of. So my daily users of OU Campus here at Galena are my administrators, my content editors, my approvers, and my accessibility checkers. These are the 4 roles that I've determined are the ones that I need to make sure that I'm creating documentation for, that I'm going to be able to have my users be able to easily have access to go back to and get all the information that they need easily and readily to make their experience as easy as possible. So moving forward here then, the next thing I need to do is to find out with these daily users of the OU Campus, my administrators, is who's going to fill these roles, who makes up my administrators. So my administrators primarily on campus are most likely going to be staff members on campus. My content editors are going to be comprised probably of faculty members and maybe students as well. Some of my maybe more senior level students are going to be editing content, maybe creating some of the news or blog entries, maybe for the departments they might work in, maybe within the theater or the athletics departments that might be creating news stories and such. So my students are people that I'm going to need to make sure that I'm creating some training materials for. My approvers, most likely going to be faculty members and staff members. And then lastly, my accessibility checkers, probably going to be just my staff members, because a lot of the accessibility concerns, other than things like the H1 issues and H2, my embedded H tags, things like that. Those are things that are going to be dealt with at the code level. So I'm going to have a lot of my admins and staff members looking into that. So most of my accessibility checkers are going to be staff members. So I kind of know now sort of the focus of who I'm going to be looking towards to fill these roles, so I know who it is I'm going to be designing my materials for. So now that I've got my roles laid out, I know who's going to be doing these roles. I now need to figure out what each of these people are going to be doing on a daily basis, because I don't want to create materials that are just a ton and wealth of information that they just kind of need to filter through to find out what they need. I kind of want to go to each role, and I want to figure out what each member is going to be doing typically on a daily basis, and I want to create training materials that focus on their daily tasks. And so going into each of these independent roles, I'm going to start out with my administrator. So what do my administrators do on a daily basis? They might be adding users. They might be removing users, especially students that come and go that are working on the website. Editing a particular user. Maybe a user has changed user levels. They've changed toolbars. They're getting more or less control for a website. They've earned more ability to do more work on a website. So we're giving more freedom to edit and do more things. So as an administrator, I need to go in and I need to make some changes. I need to make sure my admins know how to do that easily. I need to unlock a user. Maybe somebody has locked themselves out. They've forgotten the passwords. They've tried 3 or 4 times. They've locked themselves out. My admin needs to know how to unlock them very easily. Maybe change a password for that person who has locked themselves out. For my accessibility checker, what daily functions would they do? They're going to have to review pages for accessibility issues, of course. They need to be able to decline a page for publishing and return that to the content editor for repair. They need to know how to fix potential problems. They need to forward maybe any JavaScript concerns to admins for investigation. They need to know how to publish pages. If a page does pass all of the potential issues and it looks good, they need to know how to publish that page when it's done. And then, of course, my approvers. What are their daily functions? They need to be able to review a page for approval. If it passes everything again, they need to know how to publish that page. They need to know how to decline a page and return that page for an edit. They need to know how to revert a page. If a page is so egregious in all of its edits, they need to make sure it goes all the way back to maybe the start. You know how to revert a page. And then maybe they need to know how to submit a page for a second level approval. So that is something that they need to know how to do as well. And then, of course, the last one on my list here, my content editor. What are some of the functions of a content editor daily? They need to edit the existing content, of course. They need to know how to maybe potentially add a new page, add an image or video to a page, delete pages, delete content. They need to know how to submit a page for an approval. Some of them may have the ability to publish, so they want to be able to publish a page. So these are just some elements of the daily jobs of some of these roles here. I'm not going to go through all of the potential jobs that each of these roles have, or else we'd sit here forever in this, and we don't want to do that. But the next step, once I've gone through this process, I've found all the different steps, and I've gone through all the different things that each of these roles we want to do. I want to go ahead and start to develop the material for them. And so what I want to do is I want to develop it all within OU Campus itself, so it's all internal within the site, and it makes it as simple and easy as possible to be able to use. So I've gone ahead and I've created basically my OU Campus training resource page directly within my Galena University. And so here I've got an entire section just dedicated to training my new users within OU Campus. So here I have an explanation of everything that I've done. I've broken up my roles into the different roles here, a description of what the different icons mean in here. So when they come across this icon with the play symbol, this means that there's a corresponding video that relates to the information that they are reading about right there. And so here are my 4 main roles that I've talked about. So like my accessibility checker, for example. My accessibility checker confirms that pages and all media meets the current government and school standards for web accessibility. The accessibility checker will approve or reject any and all pages before they are allowed to be published onto the live site. So the accessibility checker can then, if they are new, come in and check out their information. And this opens up their page. They can come into here, read more about their role. And here again are some things that they may come across as an accessibility checker. If they have to deal with things such as animated, moving, flashing text. This talks about why it's important. Or what is important about a moving or flashing or scrolling text. And it says here, content on a web page should not move or change unexpectedly, and why. And it gives an explanation as to why it should not be doing this and why it can cause problems and maybe how it can be fixed. And so here again, we've gone through and found some of the key things that they may run into as an accessibility expert and why they would be important. So things such as H tags. And this is, of course, something that they all run into. Embedded H tags is important. Things that are often missed, things like charts and graphs. So a lot of times we see charts and graphs on a website, and often we forget that accessibility readers cannot read through a chart or a graph. And so we need to make sure to point out that there is a corresponding link that goes with this that allows an accessibility reader to read through some text that corresponds with the graph. So again, some vital information that is all part of the accessibility checker. And so again, we can pop back to our main page for that. And then we can go into our administrator role. And again, we have the same thing. We have a brief description of our administrator talking about that they are both levels 9 and 10. And that if we're in a smaller location, we might just have a level 10. As with our Galena University, we just have a level 10 admin. And we could click on the administrator's role. And here we have our level 10 admin, and we have the different things that our level 10 admin might need to do throughout a certain day. So let's say our level 10 needs to know how to create a new user. They can go quickly into here and find out how to create a new user. We have a step-by-step guide. Bring them through here, going into the setup, into users, create by clicking on the green plus new button. Takes them through all the processes here. And then if they are unsure like how to select the correct level for that user, we have a quick link to the using of the level chart here. Brings us right down to here so they can click on the different level users and open this up and get a quick explanation of the different levels and what the functionalities are of the different levels to decide which one is going to work right for them. Of course, they can edit existing users, and it's of course always great to add as much visual display as possible. So doing your little screen grabs of the different items that are available are beneficial. So here, of course, hovering over the user, it does reveal the little edit button and delete button. So if I want to edit a user, letting them know that if you hover over this, the edit button is revealed to show that. So having this little screen grab here is very helpful. The same thing with locked out users. We see now it does show the little symbol here for the locked out user. Hovering over it does reveal the reset button. So that way they can reset the user. And again, it's nice to have this in here. Also, a good thing to do is additional notes, kind of think ahead as much as possible when doing this. Admin users can also be locked out. And if they are an only admin, or there's only 2 admins, they can't get a hold of the other admin, it's nice to make sure to include in this training the fact that they can call into the Omni Update support and get themselves unlocked through the support, because the admins do need to have another admin to unlock them if they get themselves locked out. So thinking ahead and having this kind of information in here as well. Also things like forgotten passwords, we include things in here such as the sample email to send out to the users that have forgotten their passwords. So you can easily copy and paste this in here as well. And then other things such as changing publish settings. You can have all of this information included in here. Things like adding on new add-on links. If you want to be able to quickly add in an add-on link, we have, again, screen grabs to show them exactly how to do that in here as well to make it as simple as possible. And again, we can pop back into our main page here. And then we have our approvers. And again, we have our description of what our approvers are going to be doing. They have to adhere to the style guide. That's part of their job to make sure that everything is matching the design as much as possible here. So again, we go to our approvers, and we have the 3 different items that the approver is basically going to have to go through. So the first one is the submitted pages. So this teaching them what to look for when they check in. They go to their dashboard, tells them what to look for. So here they know here that when they log in, they look at the dashboard, they're going to see under their my checked out content, they're going to look for these things that have a little thumbs up that says this is something that has been submitted to them for an approval. It has the link to go to that page to check it out. And it also shows them that they're going to maybe see this underneath their workflow as well. So again, showing them all the different possibilities they might see on their pages when they do have something checked out. And then when it is time to go over and approve a page, we want to show that process as well. So how do we approve a page? So they click on that thumb to edit the page, to go look at it here. They go through the submitted page, and we want to make sure to show them how they can compare the page that they are working on to maybe the live page that they're going to be replacing. So we bring them through that process where they hover over the live page by clicking on versions and going over to compare and clicking on page, and thus they can go compare the live page with the edit page and decide whether or not they want to publish. And then of course for this one here, they are going to approve this page, so they're going to click on publish and they're going to publish this page. But of course they are sometimes going to decline a page, so we want to make sure that we teach them how to do that as well. So we have a whole separate one here for declining a page. The first 5 steps are the same, so we make sure to have that listed here. The first 5 steps are the same. And then to decline a page, they would click on decline, and we put in the additional information here to include that. Again, we have the screen grabs here, so we show all the information that they would see as if they were doing this for real. So we have the dialog boxes that would pop up. Here's the information showing what that's going to be declined. And what's down here? We have any time frame for fixing the compare feature on the HTTP side. I don't have an answer for that for here, but I will make a note of that, George, and if I do have something for you, I will email you that to you. Good question. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Moving forward here, also some of the other items here, if they decide that they do need to maybe revert the information back, we do have the option here to show them how to do that by clicking on the revert and then going into here and showing them how to go select the version that you want to revert back to, again by showing how you hover over it and select the revert. So again, trying to not assume anything, not assuming they know exactly where to go hover, not assuming they know where the revert button is. Try to show as much as possible in the process, show where every single click might be, so that way there's no assumptions made, that they can come in, they can just follow it point by point, step by step, and it makes it as easy as possible, because it ends up making your jobs as the people who are training these folks later on, makes your jobs a lot easier as well. Coming back again to our main page, the last of these 4 roles, of course, are our content editors, and some may say these are some of the most important ones because the content editors are the ones who are doing the day-to-day editing. These are the ones that are going to create the content that is going to get all the most eyeballs on it. These are the ones that are creating the content that is representing the school. These are the ones where everybody's going to see. So the content editors are very important and vital to the process. So their training is very important and vital as well. So the content editors, I've divided up their training sort of into a process in terms of how they would work. So I've got them set up into a section 1, which is getting started. So here we're teaching them how to log into OU Campus. So the first thing we talk about is the direct edit link. How are they logging in to our particular site? As most of you know, you have that direct edit link at the bottom of the screen. Each is a little bit different. Our particular one in Galena, we use that last updated link at the bottom. Some of you are using the copyright symbol. Some might be using the hidden link or something else. So you are going to want to then describe how you're logging into your site through the direct edit link, so that way they know exactly how to do that easily. Then once they logged in and they're inside of the OU Campus, you want to make sure they understand the interface and how it works. So here we've got a screen grab of the interface, and then I do have the different sections numbered out here, and then each one of those numbers describing it down here. So for example, number 1, our global navigation toolbar, the breadcrumb toolbar here, the file navigation sidebar here, and of course the page view and the main content area, the gadget sidebar, and then of course the check-in and check-out icons, letting us know which each of these icons are in here as well. And we talk about navigating through the system here. We talk about how we can navigate back to the home folder by clicking on the house icon here. And then we talk briefly about what the different colors mean in the listing here. So if a file or folder is colored in black, this means that you as the user have no access to this. So you're not going to be able to go into this folder. You're not going to be able to actually access that file. If it's in blue, you can access or traverse into that folder. And so that's what the different colors mean. So again, we're trying to give them as much information as possible in each of these little bitty accordion blurbs here. And then of course, again, checking in and checking out a page, we go through the ins and outs of this, go through the icons, what it all means, and that kind of stuff. And again, try to be as in-depth as possible and going through all the different steps. And again, most of your content editors typically are visual learners, just at least from my own personal experience as well. So using as much visual support using those screen grabs will be very beneficial as well. Then getting into the next thing would be basic page editing. So we're going to be doing things like maybe adding links. So we're going to go through how do we add a link to a page. Here we're going to talk about maybe clicking on the icon on the toolbar, or maybe right-clicking, and this is what they're going to see when they right-click. And then making when you're doing your screen grab, making sure you're making the extra effort to actually have the highlighted area that they're going to select. So here we made sure to take that extra moment to make sure that the insert edit link is the highlighted portion of the area that when I did the screen grab as well. So they're actually seeing the area that they're going to want to make sure to select. And then when the next dialog box pops up, the area that I want them to select for the to go choose their file is highlighted as well. So again, try to do as much as possible to make the step-by-step process as easy as possible for them. And then going into formatting, again, going into the H1 and H2 tags, block quotes, showing what they all look like. Back in here, we've got applying styles. Of course, saving your work and saving versions are also very important elements as well. Going through the step-by-step process of how that is and why it's important is good for the content editors too. And then in section 3, adding content to a page are important elements. So here, for example, adding images. So here I go through the step-by-step process of adding images. And here you notice I do have one of the little play icons. So by clicking on this, they know that there is a supporting video for this. So if I click on it, this does open up a video here. So we won't go through the 4-minute video of adding an image to a page, but this shows you how quickly it'll go through and just pop up a little video. You can just add those to your page wherever you want. This was something that I just made very quickly and dropped in there. We have a lot of these supporting videos on our site as well. You can of course make your own and drop them in there and just add these links to it. But it's nice to have these little supporting videos in here so they can very quickly see how to do what they need to do here. Same thing with adding your video. Drop this into here as well. And then you have your reusable content. Reusable content is very important. It's a very big part of working within OU Campus. So I do make sure to spend a lot of time when creating my supporting documentation for this. So the reusable content, of course, is comprised of our snippets, our assets, and our components. And I do make sure to go through and describe what each of these are. And for each of these, I do have a guide for each one of them listed here. So under the reusable content, we go to the snippet guide first, and I have it open up here in an entirely new window. And within here, I actually have each of the snippets actually on the page here, so the content editor can see what each snippet looks like rendered out on the page itself. So there is no guesswork. So when they look at the snippets, when they go to put it on the page, they don't have to wonder, okay, what does accordion snippet look like? Does it look like an accordion? What is it? And so they actually can go to the snippet page and say, oh, okay, so that's what an accordion snippet looks like. And okay, that's what the address with logo looks like, and that's what the center table snippet looks like. So they have it all listed here. They can very easily see it. Now, one of the other things that I've also created to go along with the reusable guide is a downloadable PDF version of this guide, which is a little bit more in depth, which goes to a little bit more how to use the snippet. So this one here is kind of showing us what it looks like when it's rendered out. But if I click on the PDF guide for this, And we just go through this a little bit more here. We see we've got more of a table of contents, so it shows all the different snippets that are here as well. We go to each of the snippets here, and it's showing the final rendered snippet as we see it right here. But then it's also showing the table view. And so it's showing it how we're going to edit it, and it's showing the different sections and the corresponding numbers. So here when we edit the heading at number 1, we're showing where it appears in number 1 in the actual rendered view. The same thing with the content, and then the additional items and where they are here. And so we did this with the other ones as well. So the rendered and unrendered, and the thing saying the centered table. So where we edit the options that are here. And then the contact box version. So here when we edit the title for our contact boxes, where does that title show up? Where does the email show up here? Where does the fax number show up? Things like that. So that way when they're editing these boxes, they know exactly where this content is going to show up within their snippet. Now, the big difference, of course, between the two here is that when you do make changes to snippets and things like that, you can easily add them to your snippet page here and just drop it on the page, and it updates automatically. You just save the page and republish it, and you get an updated version of your snippet page. So this makes this resource guide very quick and easy to use. But if you do create updated and new snippets, it takes a little bit more time and effort to go in and clean up your PDF version, but it's definitely worth it to have it because it's a nice reference guide to have for your users. So just something to be mindful of. It's a really nice thing to have. Now, one of the other things I've done here in the reusable guide, I've gone ahead and turned on my side menu here to allow us to quickly access the other reusable content guides. So now I'm right now currently in snippets. I can also then pop over to my assets, for example, and there we go. And so in my assets, I've got my different assets. So I've got my home image slider, so it shows me what the slider looks like here. My featured blogs. I've got a form asset that's been created here, tuition rate asset, a student enrollment count, plain text asset. So these are different assets that are currently available that I have available to me. And what I've also done is I've created links to the different asset types that go directly to the Omni Update support site. So if somebody wants to get a little bit more explanation as to what each of these means, I've gone ahead and created links to the support site. They can click on it and go get more information about it as well. And then of course, we also have the support guide for our components. So any component that I've created, I've placed onto the page as well, so they can get an idea of how they work. So I've got my little pick a color, any color component that was built, put that on a page, a linear background component, a marquee generator, and like a photo submission tool where somebody can submit a photo and it automatically drops in the name with a copyright symbol next to it. And so all this again is already built onto the page. So anytime there's a new component, a new asset, or a new snippet, you just go to this page, drop it onto the page, put in a description of it, so that way when your content editors are coming into work, they have all the information here readily available for them to use. So now one of the other things that I've done for the content editors is I've made sure to have a link to the style guide for the entire site available for them right here on the page as well. So by clicking on style guide, this brings up the style guide for the Galena University. So this is, again, easily available for them to have access to. You can also download a PDF version of the guide as well. So that way they can come into here and they can see all the different information about the headings, the different paragraph information, block quote information, anything about the site and how it's designed is all here and easy for them to access and use. So it all kind of makes sense to them as they're building things out and what it all means to them. So it kind of is really helpful to have this kind of stuff available to them when they are working. So now some of the other things I want to go through that I've done here as well. If I go back to my my main resource page over here, a couple of the things I've done is I've got my 4 roles here that I've done. On this main page, I've also added in under here a submit help ticket form. So I've created a form here that beyond just the internal communication within OU Campus, I created a form that would then be sent out through the regular email for the university to the admins that would be in charge of any kind of help with the system. So they might not be online at the time when you might need help, so they might not get that initial help request if they aren't in OU Campus. So this will actually send out the email to their personal email accounts, associated with the school. And you can select an urgency, kind of important, can wait till tomorrow, no rush at all, those kind of things. Put a description, put the page link, things like that in here. So it's a nice added help ticket submission tool you can add to your support page for your users as well. Of course, contact numbers for Jane and Joe admin here. And then, of course, every content editor needs a 24-hour coffee delivery link. So I've made sure to add that in for all of them as well. You got to have that in there. Also, some other things a couple other things I wanted to leave you with here as well. Within the site itself, if I go into the site here, I'm actually inside of Galena University right now. Typically, when you click on this help menu right here, if you've not edited it at all, it will bring you into the OU Campus support site automatically. Now, what I have done instead, if you click on this help menu now, it will bring you to the Galena University custom OU Campus training resource page. So you can do this for your site as well. If you do create your own internal training pages, you can instead, you can still have the support link here, which will bring you to the OU Campus site, but you can change this link here when you click on help to bring you to the internal one. So to edit that, in the setup menu here, which is where we are right now, you scroll down here to the help URL. And here, this is just going to my Training Tuesday docs folder. So you basically just select the folder that houses your training documents and place that into the help URL and save that, and that'll save all of your information there. And so next time somebody comes in and they need help, they can just click on this. It'll bring you to the help pages that you have set up for your internal training. Also, I have added in underneath the add-ons a link to the training resource pages as well, which open up into a new window. And also under the add-ons, I've added a direct link to the style guide too, again, to make it very easy for the users to get to those two elements. Now, one of the last things I will show you before I let you go on this, this training today is to talk about the ability to change the page that you see when your users log in to OU Campus. Currently, when you log into OU Campus, if you're not a single sign-on user where you have your entirely custom login page, if you're logging into OU Campus, you're going to see the login, and you're going to see a blurb on the right-hand side, which is usually coming from either our marketing or our support department, something like that, talking about something that's going on. But say you want to customize that to let your content editors know that they've got all their work due by the end of the week. So they go to the login page, they come into here, and they find out all pages are due by the end of the week, Friday, September 27th at 5 p.m. All submissions need to have their descriptions of page changes, additions, all included, all this stuff. So you want to be able to have this information show up when they log in on the page. Or maybe you want to have the latest tips and tricks or something new, something informational that's going on here for all your users. Well, you can have this custom on your pages by coming into here under your login page settings, under what is called your announcement URL. So in here, I've just created a page in my OU Campus, and I've created a folder called Reminders, and I just created a reminder for today's date, 9/24/2019, published it out, and I just used the published address for that, so it's the .html file, and dropped that into there and saved it. So anytime anybody logs into a page, it brings them into that particular window. So they see that announcement page pop up. So, and very simple and easy to do, and can be quite useful. All right, let's bring us back into here to our accessibility tools. All right, so, but basically that's just what I wanted to kind of cover for you guys today, that there's a lot of great tools within your OU Campus already to help you create tools that you can use to help train your editors, your admin, your checkers right now. Use the tools you have already at your disposal to help build these pages. And so they're all easily accessible for your editors now. So I am here for any questions that you guys may have. Otherwise, if you don't, I do want to let you know that coming up next month, we are going to have troubleshooting in OU campus on October 29th. I'm not sure who the presenter is going to be for that, but that will be on October 29th, our next training Tuesday, troubleshooting in OU campus. So, all right, we'll go back over to our screen here, and we'll hang tight here, see if anybody has any questions about anything that I have done here, and I'm happy to answer anything for you. Even if it might be off topic, I'll even try to answer that for you while we're here.
All right, anyone got any questions? If not, we will start wrapping this up. Oh, someone said thanks for the great session.
Thank you, George, very much.
We
I appreciate that. All right, well, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any questions here today, so we'll go ahead and we'll wrap this up. Thank you guys all for showing up today and participating in our Training Tuesday. I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys all again next month. Thank you, Aaron. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your work in OU campus, and we'll pass this on over to Erica.
Yeah, and I know Billy touched on this earlier, but again, with next month's Training Tuesday, we're going to be talking about troubleshooting some common things you might run into in OU campus. For those of you who are leaving, you'll see a survey pop up asking for your feedback on this Training Tuesday session. We really appreciate if you fill it out. It's the best way that we can get feedback from you, and it helps us tailor future sessions to what you guys are really interested in. And of course, as always, the recording of this will be available on our support site once it's done, along with the PowerPoint slides and any other resources that Billy might like to post. Perhaps if you want to share a copy of the sample style guide you made, that might be available as well. All right, thank you everybody for attending, and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you all in October.